Alright, today, welcome to Metascript. We're going to be talking about computer basics. First of all, what is a computer? You can see that a computer is an electronic device that receives, processes, and stores data and produces a result or output. Well, we can also define it this way. A computer is a programmable electronic device that receives data as input, processes data, stores data, and outputs the result as information. Then you can see the operations. We have input, process, output, and external storage. So the inputs come from the input device like the keyboard, the mouse. The processing deals with the CPU processing the data that has been imputed using an input device. Then the output device will display the information in a readable format. So let's keep going. Now, there's something we have IPOS cycle, input process output storage. So in the input, just like I explained, information is entered into the computer. The computer receives information. When the computer processes the information that has been entered, that's called the processing stage. Then after that, we have the output. Information leaves the computer, is displayed in a readable format. So in the storage, information is stored to be used later, either in a storage device like a flash drive, a pen drive, a hard drive, and whatever. So now there are many types of computers, many types of computers. The most powerful computers are supercomputers. They can do things like predict weather, natural disasters, navigate satellites in space, and etc. So now we have mainframe computers. Mainframe computers are used by businesses and governments to process large amounts of information. Now after that, we have personal computers, smaller and less powerful than other types of computers. Those are uh, the PCs, you have desktop, laptops, and etc. There are many types. We have mouse, keyboard, microphone, scanner, and webcam. These are called peripherals, things that are used in conjunction with computers. We have monitor, printer, and headphone. These are output devices. And then we have the central processing unit. The central processing unit is basically the brain of the computer. It's basically the part of the computer that is responsible for processing data and information that has been entered. The major brands are Intel and AMD. Just in case you've seen laptops like Intel Core i, AMD Ryzen, those are CPUs with brands from AMD and Intel. So now we're going to talk about something called clock speed. Clock speed is basically the number of cycles per second that a computer can operate. It's measured in megahertz and most of the time gigahertz also. So 1 megahertz is 1 million cycles per second. 1 gigahertz is 1 billion cycles. So one current now the latest speeds are like 2 to 4 gigahertz. So now let's talk about word size. Word size is a number of bits that can be processed by a processor in a single instruction. Word size determines the amount of RAM that can be accessed at a go. Currently, most microprocessors use 32-bit or 64-bit architecture. Now, what is an instruction set? An instruction set is a command given to a digital machine to perform an operation on a piece of data called an instruction. Basic set of machine level instructions that a microprocessor is designed to execute is called an instruction set. Let's go into what we call the internal memory, RAM and ROM. So RAM, random access memory, is very important. Now we have the ROM, read-only memory. It can read info stored in ROM, but it cannot write. It's used for the internal workings of the computer. Now we have the hard drives. The hard drives are used to store data inside the computer that holds a large amount of information in a form the computer can understand. Basically, it's a storage device. It stores data that can be reused later. So when you run a program or open a file, the hard drive copies data from the hard drive to the RAM. So the RAM basically stores what is currently happening, what processes are running currently. When you save a file, the data is copied back to the hard drive. The faster the hard drive, the faster your programs can start up and load. That's it. So there are two different types of hard drive. We have HDD and SSD. So HDD is basically slower than an SSD because of latency. There are different memory measurements which I would like to discuss now. We have 1 byte, which is 8 bits. Uh, we have 1 kilobyte, which is 1024 bytes. We have 1 megabyte, which is 1024 kilobytes. We have 1 gigabyte, which is 1024 megabytes. And then 1 terabyte, 1024 gigabytes. 1 exabyte, zettabyte, yottabyte, and etc. So now we have a motherboard. What is a motherboard? A motherboard is a circuit board that houses other components. It's a computer's main circuit board. It's a thin plate that holds the CPU, memory, connectors for the hard drive and optical drives, expansion cards or expansion slots to control the video and audio, and connections to your computer's ports, such as USB ports. The motherboard connects directly or indirectly to every part of the computer. That's the truth. So now this is the motherboard of the desktop. This is how it looks. This is the motherboard of the laptop. This is how it looks. So expansion slots. Now expansion slots are basically places where you can add peripheral cards like video card, sound card, network card, and other abilities and etc. If you want to boost the performance of your computer or update the capabilities of an older computer, you can always add more expansion slots, add more cards. Now, what's a video card? A video card is basically a GPU. It's basically a way for your computer to process the graphics of a video or graphics intensive software like games. There are different types of GPU. We have AMD, we have Intel, we have Nvidia, and what and what. There are two types. We have dedicated and integrated GPU. Dedicated GPU shares your RAM. Integrated, dedicated GPU has a separate RAM, has a separate processor, but the integrated GPU is in the processor and it also shares your RAM. That's the difference. So now we have a video card. It looks like this. Now, what's a network card? A network card is basically a card that allows your computer to communicate over a network and access the internet. It can either be connected with an Ethernet cable or through wireless connection, which is called Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity. So many motherboards have built-in network connections, and the network cards can be added to an expansion slot. This is how a network card looks like. Okay. Okay. Now this is software. These are types of software: system, application, and utility. We have operating systems, language processor, and device driver, which we'll be talking about shortly. Now, what's an operating system? It's basically a firmware that manages the computer's memory, processes data, and all of its software and hardware. It creates a human-computer interface between the user and the computer. Now, this is the task an operating system performs. It boots, formats, creates, saves and retrieves, moves and copies files. Now, this is the booting method. This is the software method, viruses. This is the database representation. Networks, LAN, WAN. Thank you.